Well, you have to have a good work ethic for starters. You have to be willing to put in the hours. You have to pay attention to what's going on around you, thinking about different strategies, different ways to win. When you lose, thinking about why you lost, what were the situations that came up and how you can improve on it. When you sit at a table and you recognize that someone's better than you, you have to really pay attention to what they're doing and how they play certain hands and strategize in order to beat them. One thing is to take notes of the hands, try to remember the hands that they played, what they were thinking about, what was going on in their minds when they play the hands. Also, an important thing is to be able to manage their money. You don't want to be in situations where you end up losing more than you can afford to lose. They have to understand that it doesn't matter so much what you have as more as what your opponent has, and you can adjust your play based off of that. Another thing I guess would be to try not to play when you're tired. I think that's super important.
I wanted to win so bad, I paid attention to every single detail of everything that was going on in the game.
When I'm studying away from the table has to do with me just thinking about the hands that I played, thinking about the way I played the hands, what my opponent was thinking, the different amounts they bet in different situations, what I could do against them next time, what they think of me as a player. Do they think I'm playing tight? Do they think I'm playing aggressive? What are they going to try to get away with doing against me next time? So really when I'm studying, it's more thinking about ways to play against my opponent the next time that I play against them.
I don't go into any poker game with a strategy. I don't go and say I'm going to play tight today, I'm going to play loose today, I'm going to play aggressive. I just go there and just try and, basically take what they give me. If they're playing tight, I try and go after some pots, or I might be playing conservative. Depends. I can't really say how I'm going to play on any given day.
I don't really think that players should try to cultivate a table image. It really is kind of dictated on your cards and the situations that come up. So if you have to fold 14, 15 hands in a row and they think you're playing tight, then you take advantage of that situation. And if you have to raise 4 or 5 hands in a row, or the cards dictate that, or the situations dictate a raise 4 or 5 times in a row, then you have to take advantage of that. So really, your table image has to do with, the situations that come up and what your opponents are thinking at the time. I don't think you should go to a table and try to have a table image. Try to say, okay, I'm going to have a loose table image today, or I'm going to have a tight table image today.
A huge part of poker is, especially no limit, big bet poker, is knowing the correct amounts to bet, knowing when you could, maybe somebody will call all in versus, betting, short of that, or maybe you bluff, but you bluff too much because they were going to call any amount you bet, so you should have, bluffed less. That's a huge part of poker, so that's why I said nobody really plays a perfect session, because, you just never know what perfect is, because, sometimes maybe you might bet X amount when you could have bet a little bit more, and they would have called the same. Or you could have bet less and they would have folded for that. So, nobody really plays a perfect session. So you have to think, you just want to play as near to perfect as you can. What helps me to get better is exactly what Patrick said, is that, when you're playing in a game, right, there's so many times where, you make a bad decision, and then later on you start thinking about, all the different variables, everything that happened in that hand, and the decision is so clear to you what you should have done. Okay, so it's so you think about that, you process it, and then the next time you play, you're able to make a better decision based off of things that happen, just the feel of the hand, the feel of your opponent, what type of energy they were giving off. There's a lot of things that come into play to make the correct call or make the correct bet or whatever. But it's really important to be able to process this information. And the way you do that is after the session. If you think you're not going to be able to remember the hand, maybe you write the hand down, and then you just think about the hand and what you could have done differently the next time if a hand similar to that comes up.
There's no poker player alive that plays as good as when he's winning as he does when he's losing. So no matter what anybody says to you, there is a little difference. There could be some differences are small, some differences are really big. It depends on your personality and the experience that you have. So when people are losing, when people are losing, they play a lot worse than when things are going their way, when they're winning. You know, they're able to make better decisions when they're winning, and you know, and they're playing better.
What people don't really realize is that that was a part of my strategy too. You know, like when you're guarded or whatever, like, you know, like, and you don't really talk very much, you make people uncomfortable, right? And if you make them uncomfortable, they play worse.
Right. And, you know, a lot of players that I play with, when they're losing, they play really, really terrible, as opposed to when they're winning. So some nights I might quit early if a guy is winning, and other nights if a guy is losing, I might play with him for 2 days. You know, it all depends. It's the only way you get good at poker is if you play against really good players. You know, that's what any sport, anything else. You know, you gotta let you know, a lot of times you have to play to the level of your competition. You have to play with really good players to improve.